hero and a writer. Other than being our national hero, Jose Rizal is best known for being a writer. He's probably the most known Filipino who has been killed because of what he wrote. Unlike other journalists whose deaths have turned the Philippines into a dangerous place for journalism and for the press. Jose Rizal has actually been tried for his crime for writing about the Spanish abuses as well as the social political environment in the Philippines during his time. As students, we've encountered Jose Rizal's works such as El Fili and Noli Me Tangere in our high school and our college lives over and over again. But this begs the question, is Rizal's works truly relevant in our contemporary society? To answer this question, we will interview several UAMP students and teachers to know how Rizal's works affecting them personally.
I know about El Filibusterismo and Noli Me Tangere.
I only know two, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo.
El Fili, Noli Me Tangere.
Of course, El Fili, Noli.
Two novels, El Fili and Noli Me Tangere.
Namely Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo.
Reigniting that sense of nationalism in Filipinos and how the identity of the Filipino people must be greater than that of foreigners.
See, the stories show how the Spaniards were abusive towards the Filipinos, affecting.
Well, Noli Me Tangere is a novel about the cruelty of Spaniards. Yeah, El Filibusterismo, honestly forgot.
They're about during the Spanish Inquisition of the Philippines and how Rizal was trying to connect all the Filipinos through his novels para hindi mapansin ng mga Spaniards.
It serves as an allegory of how the Spaniards abused the Filipinos, and it chronicles the story of this man who tries to break away from that, and that's how I would describe both of them.
They were about how Filipinos' lives were like during the Spanish occupation.
Well, now that I'm taking Rizal under Sir Camposano, I think that the stories may not be as relevant as it is before, but the kind of framework that Rizal has established for us as regards national identity and nationalism as a whole, yes, it is significant.
Yes. Well, because me personally, I'm actually very interested in regionalism in the Philippines, and for me, one of the important things we must note about Rizal kasi through his works, hindi niya actually nai-include yung mga people parts of Mindanao. That's why parang nagkaroon na rin tayo ng regionalism in that sense during his time pa lang.
Personally, to my life, not really, but I am still able to appreciate how important it is and how it was able to spark a change in many Filipinos.
Although most of our interviewees said that Rizal somehow is relevant to their lives, I think there's really that hesitation and reluctance that Rizal deserves the title of the national hero. I believe that this is because when we were taught during elementary, we were just given this list of national symbols that we have to memorize, like national fruit, mango, and then national hero, Rizal. So it doesn't really make sense because they're not really explicitly explained to us what are his studies or his life, unless you actually dig deeper into his life and his learnings. He only lived for like 35 years. He died at a very young age. So, and he is being compared to other heroes like Andres Bonifacio, who fought by sword, and Jose Rizal is like this hero that's being romanticized as like the pen is mightier than sword. But we have to realize that he is more than the pen, or he is more than the works and the codes. Rizal is relevant to us as national hero. We just have to realize it better.
Of course, yes, it does.
Honestly.
Yes.
Personally, I didn't really enjoy reading the stories, so
Mostly it was for academics.
From all the data we've gathered with about students knowing about Rizal's works is that they have read mostly Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which are the required readings during high school and also in college. But pero if these readings are important because it shows how nationalism and everything has happened in the Philippines. But the problem is if these readings are not required in our education, these will be disregarded by the students or other people out there, in which they won't know what Rizal has done. And
With regard to Noli Me Tangere, I agreed with it entirely. But with El Filibusterismo, that's where I have reservations regarding the morals, the principles of Jose Rizal. Because if you compare El Filibusterismo and Noli Me Tangere, the former is more radical, and it has more violence compared to that of Noli Me Tangere.
Yeah, now I get to see the value of how fluid this Filipino identity that Rizal has set on us. Before, kasi I thought Filipino identity is just fixed. Now that I'm taking Rizal under Camposan, I realize that the Filipino identity should constantly evolve, hence we should be more open to other cultures.
Sir Camposano actually describes Rizal in a more in a more modern sense. Like ini-imply niya lahat ng lessons ni Rizal and teachings niya in today's time period.
Well, first of all, Jose Rizal is our national hero, and with the subject Rizal, it aims to instill in everyone, or in the students, more knowledge regarding our national hero.
Trying to be more open in what it is to be really a Filipino. We can't just fixate ourselves na di porket Pinoy ako, full-blooded, or citizen ako ng Pilipinas, Pinoy ako. Hindi.
Regionalism siya na-apply. Kasi Rizal, isa siya sa, di ba nga sinasabi siya yung founder of the Filipino identity, parang ganun. So, with the Filipino identity, parang nagkakaroon, ngayon nga, since may regionalism, parang naka-question ka agad yung Filipino identity na na-produce ni Rizal.
No.
no, kasi I know something eh.
Mas ano pa sa hayop yung taong hindi alam ang sariling wika.
Take into consideration and actually value our national language, but not to a point that eto lang yung mamahalin natin.
Jose Rizal is really advocating the use of the Filipino language, and that you should be able to love it. But I don't think it's necessarily such a fair judgment that those who don't know how to speak Tagalog well, that they would be worse than animals. Because of course, they can still be willing to learn, they can still love their country in other ways.
With Jose Rizal's famous quote, ang hindi magmahal sa sariling wika ay higit pa sa hayop at malansang isda, we can truly say that as Filipinos, we should love and give value to our own language. In our generation today, it is common for the youth, most especially the millennials, not to have full knowledge of what our language is and how our language is spoken, because we think that English should be the one we are speaking. But as Filipinos, it is our responsibility to speak our own language and be fluent of what our heroes have fought for.
Well, actually, before this year, I would agree to that na parang maraming ang Filipino youth na apathetic. But ever since nagkaroon nga yung recent elections, nung pumasok si Duterte sa picture, parang everyone seemed so concerned about the government. Parang everyone knew, parang somehow biglang mas naging knowledgeable, mas naging informed about the current economy, ganyan. But I couldn't speak for everyone because in my case here sa university, in my course sa IEP, most of my classmates are actually well informed about the government and the economy. So I wouldn't know how well informed they were prior to this government, but for me now we're becoming less apathetic to the current events.
I agree with Dr. Jose Rizal that the youth is the hope of our future because they are the product of the current. And whatever is happening right now, the youth will grow up with it and that they will learn from it. Also, as they grow up, they are becoming more productive. And so every shift and change they experience before reaching adulthood builds them into trying to supposedly change the future.
No, I'd rather live for this country.
Love for his or her own country can be manifested in a lot of ways. I believe that the people now do not need another noble Filipino to die in order just for them to be awakened to the reality around them.
As of now, I can't say that I would.
I'd like to say that, if ever it comes to that, I would.
Wala. I'm not willing to sacrifice anything.
I'd say that I'd be willing to live for my country instead.
My resources for me to help the country by means of being the voice of the defenseless, the poor, and the oppressed and the marginalized.
I am willing to sacrifice even my life for this country because I believe that, the Filipinos, although over time we have had a corrupted sense of nationalism and the way the world views us is quite also corrupted and skewed, but there is a lot of potential in the Filipino people and the future of the Filipino people.
I believe that making small sacrifices will do. It is good to use one's talents to help the country in any way, no matter how small it may seem.
Keeps the country's heart beating. Without nationalism, there will be indifference because people will not care about what their country stands for, what they can offer to their country, which would lead to ignorance.
Nationalism in the sense that loving your own, but also learning to love outside of your own.
Yes.
Yes. No, and it's mainly because fighting is not the only thing that Rizal did. No. Very important with regard to Rizal is he builds. No. Kumbaga, he's very focused on community building. Actually, the big problem talaga, I don't know if you still remember from my talk before, is that ang misconception natin about citizenship is that we have to tear things down. And I mean, of course, there are occasions where we really do have to tear things down. But if it's the only thing that we do, it's not healthy. Hindi kaya naman na-notice yung pattern is that it doesn't really matter who's on top. Like kasi, kumbaga, ang nangyayari dyan, the moment you get on top, you're the man, and the man has to be brought down. Mang ganun yung mentality natin nowadays. And with regard to Rizal, let me emphasize again this whole idea of education and civic virtue that is best manifested sa the people. He goes there. What does he do while in exile? He farms, he does business, he teaches, he goes doctor, he studies. So kumbaga he even sends local specimens abroad. I mean, he could have just simply focused on one, and then lived a comfortable life. No, but he does these things, and it does not benefit only him. I mean, Kapitan develops because of it, and I think this is something I don't find, personally, I don't find in Bonifacio or many of the other heroes. Kumbaga, we're always focusing on what we should go up against, rather than what we should be going for. Kaya nowadays, di ba, parang ang idea natin ng citizenship nowadays is whenever may holiday, we bring out red flags and build paper mache structures of our politicians para susundin natin sa atin. I think that's citizenship.
However, Dr. Antonio emphasized that Jose Rizal's whole life is actually the reason why he's the national hero, and that he served as a model citizen for our country. And this is by showing patriotism in everything that he did. He devoted his skills for his country, whether it be in teaching or in medicine or in writing. And he also focused on community building, which is very important for making a nation.
So from all of the interviews, we can see that the UANP community variation of opinions and comments on whether Rizal and his works really affected them in a personal level, and whether Rizal really deserved the title of our national hero. But then again, we have to remember that Rizal has his own flaws, his own strengths as well. We can't only romanticize Rizal because he's the national hero. And actually, we can learn from this that whether we have flaws and weaknesses, we can arise to that, and we can actually help not just ourselves but also our community.